Hey, welcome to this podcast with us being together here in the Real Life Podcast. I was going to say studio, kind of sound like Rush Limbaugh, right? Welcome behind the EIB mic. Not really, but it's us together. I love these times because there's no formality to it, and we can talk and we can just discuss things that otherwise I don't really have the platform to do. So much of my life, in so many ways, is either scripted one way or another, either scripted by a calendar, scripted by a clock, or in this case, it's when I say this in this case, meaning when it's teaching the scriptures, I'm scripted by a time clock. I'm limited by the time or whatever it might be. Podcasts a little bit different. We do try to keep these to about 20 minutes-ish because that seems to be palatable for people. They like that. But then on the other side, we get people saying, don't stop, just keep going, which is really great to hear. But today might be one of those days where we by nature have to go off script because of what's going on. Now, look, by the time this podcast drops to your device, things could be so outdated, even though it's going to be released to you as quick as possible. I don't know, maybe 4 days from now, 5 days from now, something like that. But what's happening in our nation is just going so quick, and that's true for the entire world. There's things changing so fast. And I want to encourage all of you who are believers in the Word of God. You recognized immediately when I said that things all of a sudden are going so fast. Many of you who know the Word went like this in your heart, yes, thumbs up, because that's exactly what the scriptures would say, do say that in the last days, things would happen very, very quickly. As we've mentioned before, where Jesus says, behold, I come quickly in the book of Revelation, it doesn't mean, behold, I come soon. It means that once things get set off, once the fuse is lit, it goes very fast, and I come back quickly once the fuse is lit. I'm not saying the fuse is lit in this world. I'm saying that the fuse has been set, and there's a guy standing about 5 feet away with a match. That's where we're at in this world right now. So I'm probably going to share with you more of what is a understanding on my part and a belief on my part. So I'm not going to be citing, Wilson versus Connecticut. I'm not going to be citing Barnes versus Florida. What I'm going to be saying is that the way I see things right now, in what's happening in the United States, and some of the things that I've been told by military and or law enforcement personnel, some of them retired but are still in the intelligence world. I'm not going to expose them. I'm not stupid. But in light of that, when I say some things in this podcast with you, if you say, well, I need your citation for that, where are you getting that from? I'm not going to tell you where I'm getting it from if it's going to compromise somebody. But I do want you to know that you ought to take note of it and just write it down and wait and see. Or how about this? Write it down and check your sources. Okay? So I almost want to, say the things that I'm going to be telling you are 100% true. They are, unless some of the things I tell you I was told wrongly. What if somebody told me something that was wrong? But it's going to be clear enough. And that is this. First of all, let's start right here. Jeremiah 29, verse 7. Seek the peace of the city wherewith I've caused you to dwell. And pray to the Lord for it, that is the city, for in its peace you will have peace. Is that confusing to anyone? Wherever you are as a believer on this planet, it is commanded in Jeremiah 29:7 that you're to seek the peace of the city in which you live. And you're to do that because it's where the Lord has put you, because the Lord wants you to not only dwell in peace, but he wants that city to be in peace. That's the will of the Lord. Enter the well-funded, well-staged, and for some of us, routine shenanigans that are going on our university campuses right now. When I say routine, listen, I've been in a group, I've been in a gathering, I've been in a tributary of information, basically ever since 2001. And in some of those areas, I even had the chance to address members of Congress on Islamic activity, Muslim jihadist beliefs, the factions between Islam. Why are some Islamic groups at war with other Islamic groups? I have spoken in places and in seminars, and when President Trump was in office, I served with 37 other clergy / theologian / experts on Islamic cleric concerns under Chad Wolf, Homeland Security. And so went through the vetting process of all of that stuff, was in that situation. I'm letting it out now because obviously it's all done. And Trump's gone and Chad Wolf's gone and all of that kind of stuff. So I just want you to know, I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. But there was a time in the United States where there were a lot of hostile people filing for immigration into the United States or getting the easiest visa possible to get onto U.S. soil and then never again showing up for either a visa extension, or they had their visitor's visa expire or their tourist visa expire and they're still here somewhere in America with intent. So having said that, let's talk about Columbia University. Let's talk about NYC. Let's talk about UCLA, USC. Let's talk about the nearly now 220 universities in the United States that are hosting the what do we call it? The media calls it pro-Palestinian rallies. Pro-Palestinian, doesn't that sound sweet? Pro-Palestinian rallies. And yet they have Hamas signs. They're saying pro-Hamas in the group. Listen to this, everybody. Newsflash. And now we take you to UCLA or USC for the pro-Palestinian rally. That sounds great. Pro-Palestinian rally carrying pro-Hamas signs. And in reality, that should be oil and water that doesn't mix. To be pro-Palestinian is to say the Palestinians are being abused. And we're against that. It's to mean that the Palestinians are hurting. We need them to be okay. The Palestinians are in trouble. We need to help. Okay. Then the number one way of helping them is to separate Hamas from the Palestinians. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you even know the news? Do you know that Hamas is using Palestinians? Look, Hamas has always used little kids and women to be body shields for them. Still secret. You can watch it online. Go to YouTube. Go to some of the TikTok stuff, or there's some stuff on X. It's pretty violent, pretty ugly stuff. But they're using women and children for body shields. Now they perpetrate Hamas, not the Palestinians. Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. Israel has turned around to eradicate Hamas. What does Hamas do? Hamas runs among all the population. What's the result of that? Israel can't stop. No way, cannot stop. No nation with a brain would stop. They have to go get them. But it's hard to get people when they hide behind 4-year-olds. But I guess when you don't really, when you don't have a God and you're doing all this bad stuff, then you would hide behind a 4-year-old because you don't have a God that can protect you. Your God is fabricated, and he's not able to protect you against the Israelis. The Israelis, on the other hand, they have a God. And so you grab a kid, hide behind him, and then Israel does everything they can to keep from killing the child to take the Hamas guy out. But there's collateral damage in war because war is horrible and we live in a fallen world. But all you see on the headline news is Israel shot a 4-year-old. And it's tragic. What nobody thinks is tragic in this demon-dumbed world is that it was pretty sick for that guy to hide behind a 4-year-old and shoot at Israeli soldiers. But that's what cowards do. So now we have it in America, all over the United States, Texas, California, Massachusetts, all over the place. So they're shouting pro-Hamas, death to Israel, death to America, death to Israel, death to America. Who's shouting that? I ask you, Palestinians or pro-Hamas? Pro-Palestinians or pro-Hamas? Please educate us. Please tell us. Watched it last night to 1 o'clock in the morning here in LA. And shouts of Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar on the campus of UCLA. What does Palestinians have to do with Allah Akbar? Because not all Palestinians are Muslims. Not all Arabs are Muslims. In fact, Israel has some pretty strong data that Hamas isn't even Muslim. Hamas uses Islam because it allows them to recruit and to come across as freedom fighters, holy fighters. So now on university campuses in the United States, we've got Allah Akbar being shouted, which in any other context in the world is a cry to battle. It's a cry to war. Allah Akbar. That is a war cry. And there's no getting around it. You can cry, foam at your mouth, scream and holler all you want. It's still a war cry, which is why, again, you go to YouTube and you watch terrorists watching, you can do it through their eyes. They're watching their buddy driving a Jeep or a motorcycle up near a bunch of people or U.S. soldiers or European soldiers, or they get to an entryway somewhere and they're going, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. And they're you can hear them, and then the guy blows himself up, and they're going, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. What are they doing? You can view this 10,000 times over. It's a war cry. And by the way, Allah Akbar is, Allah is greater. Allah is greater. Do you know what Allah means in Arabic? Nope. What's the name of the Islamic God? What's his name? No, that's not his name. The name of Islam's God is not Allah. Allah is Arabic for God. God's not a name. God is a title, a description. So, for example, there's a lot of gods. Money's a god. Sex is a god. Violence is a god. Religion is a god. God is God. And the deities of cults, they're gods. Allah is Arabic for God. What's the name of the Muslim God? Who is Allah? I find it interesting. You kind of get a clue by the statement, Allah Akbar. God is greater. Greater than who? Who is he greater than? If you find the answer to that one, you just might find your way home to the arms of Yah, Y-A-H or Y-E-H, Yahweh, Yehovah, the name of the God of the Bible. They're not the same gods. So I'm going somewhere with this, and I appreciate your patience, but it's important. Are they involved in some form of uprising that they're so ashamed of? They so do not want to be identified with the uprising they're being paid to shout at that they cover their faces with either a kafia or a medical mask or a diaper. They're covering their faces and they're shouting and they're disobeying the police. They're disobeying the campus police. They're disobeying orders. But they're all covered up. They're so brave that they've covered their faces. But they're shouting Allah Akbar, and they're saying death to America, death to Israel, and they have their pro-Hamas signs on U.S. soil. And then like we saw last night in Los Angeles, the police are called in by, which is really remarkable. The police were finally allowed to move in onto campus because the campus, the administration of UCLA would not let law enforcement onto the campus. I can't believe I'm saying this. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, who is soon to visit the Vatican and give some sort of speech there because, I don't know why, because he's got awesome hair and he's tall. Sounds like Batman when he speaks. Gavin Newsom said it's absolutely wrong that Los Angeles has allowed this protest to go on as long as it has. They never should have had a chance to build their encampments. Gavin Newsom, this is the one and only applaud you'll ever get from me. The only problem is you should have said that, 2 weeks ago, but hey, you said it, and that's great. We appreciate it. So here's the big mic drop to what we're talking about right now. How do these people get away with what they're doing when the mayor of Los Angeles has just issued a warning that she will have zero tolerance for any pro-Israeli protest or gatherings as a response to the pro-Palestinian. She said she will, and I quote, prosecute anyone who gathers in support of Israel. This is Bass. I forget her first name. Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, a George Soros implant. That's pretty spectacular. But how do people get away with this? Let's play this out, because I'm watching it happen in the media right now. How are they getting away with it? Can somebody post right now? How are they getting away with doing what they're doing, disobeying the police, refusing to obey an order from the police department to evacuate your encampments, because we're going to be tearing your encampments down because they are illegal dwellings. You've built structures. You're camping in a non-camping zone. You've done all this stuff that is in violation of campus rules and of city ordinances. By the way, fecal matter, urine, pot, drugs, not being reported in the media, but if you know any police officers who are there, these are things going on. How do they get away with it? Somewhere, I don't know if it's happening on this podcast, but if there's comments someplace, let us know. Please let us know. The question is, how are they allowed to do this? Death to America. Burning the American flag. You are going to probably, and I hope our audience is smarter than the average bear, but let's just play along. I hope you're smarter than the media. All of it out there. Every single one of the media outlets, and I mean them all. I've watched them. I watch them all. It's disgusting. Do you know what? You know how they're able to get away with it? Because this culture believes, the media believes, that they have a First Amendment. They're saying death to America, and they're not even saying it's our constitutional right. Most of them don't even believe in the Constitution. Hey, listen, let's be honest. A kid on USC or UCLA's campus can't even quote the First Amendment.